What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. I'm your host, Mangum. We're a little bit late, but that's okay. It's only a 3-game slate. The boys were just on air talking the Showdown stuff on the premium side. So if you do want to check out after this show, the NFL Showdown show, talking the Browns, talking the Broncos, and this ugly Thursday night football game, check that out. It was JSU, it was Tambo and BigT, but I'm here with the boys. I'm here with Hoop. I'm here with AP. Hoop, I'll go over to you first. How is it going, and how has the NBA season been going for you?
NBA season's been going pretty well. Last night, I saw we had very similar teams on FanDuel. Both did really well, but your team nipped me in the end, and it did cost me a massive chunk because a lot of people played that team. Ran good. That team ran good with the overtime in the New York game. But I had a really good day yesterday, and looking to build on that momentum here today. Nice little 3-game slate, solid game. I mean, all high totals, close spreads. We have injury news, so one of the better 3-game slates that you're going to see. But emotionally, I'm still trying to recover from the cash game show with you and Holden, where Holden, if you're not a member, you didn't see this, but Holden invited Mangone to a swingers party next weekend. And he guaranteed that Mangone would get some action with the ladies if he attended with them. It appears that Holden is experienced in this department. And I'm just curious how much you're actually considering this.
I don't know. I mean, TBD.
You gotta go, Mangone. You gotta go. Just go and record shit. I mean, you gotta go.
Yeah.
That's he Holden in action.
I mean, it would be, I will say if nothing happens, the entertainment and value alone would be worth it, right? That's just, even if I was there for like an hour, it would be worth it. I could just be there real quick and then leave. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like interesting. I saw the pictures online of this place too. It looks like it could be a real treat. So we'll have to see what happens. Holden suggested an animal costume, right, to dress up as. And do we think Holden's dressing up? Like, what will he be wearing there? Do we have any guesses on that one?
I can't even imagine. He's definitely wearing a costume, and outside of that, the imagination is I don't think I want to know.
AP, what about you? You got any guesses on a Holden Halloween costume? Is he just gonna is he just going to take a sheet and make it like a toga? What do you think he would be doing for a Halloween costume?
I have no idea. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. I honestly didn't even know that Holden, left his house. I know when Hoop and Big T and everyone was down in Denver, invited him out for a nice lunch, and he rejected the offer. So I guess if they would have invited him to a swingers party, he would have said yes. So. No, I honestly don't know. That's you should go though. Take some notes, take some video footage, and bring it back to Run Pure.
Yeah, definitely would be some good stuff. Hoop, also, if you got invited to some kind of swingers party from Holden, you wouldn't have gone because you had the wife with you in Colorado. That would be a bad idea. But Holden is a fan favorite of Mrs. Hoop apparently.
Yeah, I'm keeping Mrs. Hoop far away from Holden. I'll guarantee for multiple reasons. Mrs. Hoop and Holden most likely will never be in the same facility.
Probably not a bad call. Speaking of Holden, he'll be up on the Final Countdown show with Draft Cheat. He'll be there with Bobby Gomes. They'll be breaking it down for you at 6:45. We are starting a little bit earlier when there's those 7:30 slates on the East Coast, right? Typically, we start at 4:45. Last year, we moved it back at times. This year, we're just going to keep it at the same time. So you can always show up at this time. Free show here over on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. So subscribe to the channel to be notified when we go live. And then also like the video. It helps us out a ton. Hoop, why don't you tell the people a little about the promo we got going on, right? It's RPS NBA 15. Tell the people a little bit about it and when it's going to end.
Yeah, so RPS NBA 15 gets you 15% off your monthly subscription at Run Pure Sports for life as long as you don't cancel. So that 15% will hit every single month. And honestly, like I've been saying, right now is the best bang for your buck with so many sports going. I mean, tonight alone, we have NBA, NFL, MLB playoffs. And, the thing that we do that's a little bit different than the other sites, all the sports on our website, one price. I mean, there's one price for everything. We don't upcharge when a new sport start. Our price remains the same all year round, no matter how many things are going in. Right now is the best time. NBA, NFL, MLB playoffs, PGA, MMA, NASCAR, tennis, soccer, bunch of other things. And the one thing that our members, really like about that is it kind of gets them into new sports, new DFS sports that they never really would follow otherwise. So RPS, NBA 15, now is the time to hashtag join the movement, like we say.
Yeah, who actually you're gonna get a laugh out of this. You reminded me by saying it. We have all the sports, right? I got a text message from someone the other day, and they said, NBA, I just got charged more money. I just paid for the NFL subscription from someone. Now I got to buy the NBA package. And I said, that's why we have this at Run Pure Sports, right? So I felt like you basically saying the whole spiel to him about it. So
it's true though, man. They don't tell you about it, so they bump you, when these sports start. And if you subscribe the previous year, they just charge you again, which is not being very honest. But you don't have to worry about that at Run Pure Sports.
Yeah, they also hit me with the I paid X amount like 3 years ago, and I was like, well, I mean, to be fair, the industry changed. Maybe you're getting a little more, but this is what we got over here. Then I threw that in there as well. But yeah, we got all the sports going on. MLB Showdown, we got NFL Showdown, and speaking of NFL Showdown, we had some nice NFL hits the other day. We had a $17,500 win from Chief U. NBA, we had a $200K win, and that was on a nice 2-game slate. And AP, we have a 3-game slate tonight, right? So if we can help you win on that 2-gamer and ship a solo shipper for $200K, we can help you with the 3-gamer, AP. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. And an interesting slate too. I mean, it should be very chalky, pretty easy to get different in tournaments if you want to get different. And it looks like a fun slate all around.
Yep, should be a fun slate. I'm excited to break it all down with you guys. Hoop, I'll go over to you. What's your first overall takeaways by looking at the slate? We had the big news in the morning. Drew Holiday out, Brooke Lopez out. So how are you handling this slate here?
Yeah, it's really some pretty big news. I mean, they had Drew Holiday listed as probable, and then out of nowhere, this late this morning, early afternoon, depending on where you're at, like, okay, he's gonna be out. And then shortly after that, they pile on with Brooke Lopez also being out, and you're talking about a team that's opening up the season already pretty thin. Bobby Portis out, DiVincenzo out. So, I mean, we're talking a very thin team on the third slate of this NBA season, second game for the Bucks. So, I mean, that's a spot that you're really going to have to nail. And obviously Giannis, gets a huge bump. He's going to play, some center, obviously his normal positions. He'll be massively owned on this slate, but a very, very tough fade. He looked really good in that first game. Going to have a massive fantasy season. There's no doubt about it. Makes it very tough to fade him. And then the other guys get big boosts. Chris Middleton, big boost for him. This Jordan Nwora guy who I did play the opening slate. He looks phenomenal. Just an athlete out there. He can shoot, do a little bit of everything. He's going to play a ton of minutes tonight. Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, George Hill, all going to be forced to play big minutes tonight. So that's obviously the most important news on the slate, those guys being ruled out. But like I said in the opening, overall, it's just a really good slate. I mean, if you don't want to load up on the Bucks, there's a lot of other spots you can potentially go. I mean, we have 3 games with the total between 223 and 228, and all the spreads are, basically within 3. So we could have 3 competitive games here. But yeah, great slate here, despite only being 3 games.
And we got a great comment in the chat. Like, I think Big T's on his burner account. It's Philip Galvin. He says, all right, guys, good show. Let's talk about this party now. So, Big T just wants to get, off of the real sports talk, right? Wants to move on over to all the shenanigans. But AP, I'll go over to you. Obviously, the Bucks is going to be a big thing today, right? We can obviously talk about that game first. We'll talk about the Mavericks game first because we'll go in the correct order. But let's talk about the Mavs and Hawks real quick. Luka Doncic, we got Trae Young, 2 absolute studs on this slate, AP. They might not be his own, though, right? Because Giannis is clearly the clear-cut number 1 guy on this slate that people are going to want to pay up for. It's just obvious. And then Chris Middleton's an easy guy to jam in there. So do you think Luka gets under-owned and Trae Young, and is it a nice little game stack there?
I mean, this matchup, just looking like historically at these 2 teams when they face each other, within the last 2 years, it's resulted in some high scoring games. And, the Hawks usually like to play with pace. The Mavericks, we'll see. They have a new coach this year. Rick Carlisle is with the Pacers. So, but one thing that's interesting is, and it's just preseason. You probably saw this, but I thought Porzingis, he sucked last year. He was absolutely terrible. He looked far more aggressive in preseason play when he was on the court. The dynamics between him and Luka looked a little bit more like what we saw 2 seasons ago. So I definitely do have some interest in this game. I do want to get off some of the chalkier pieces though, like Dwight Powell, 3.3K. For me, it's like an opportunity cost thing. I mean, sure, he might allow you to get multiple studs in your lineup, but we've seen the front court for the Mavericks absolutely suck. Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, these guys. We don't necessarily know what the exact rotation is going to be, but historically speaking, those guys just kind of disappear in these games. And, it's basically the Luka show. Hopefully they get Porzingis going. I definitely have interest in those 2 guys. Jalen Brunson, maybe a little bit. Like, I'd definitely rather play Brunson over Powell if we're spending down on the Mavericks side. And then the Hawks, we did see, so Trae Young, he tweeted out or he commented somewhere that, he's been watching the TV. He's been watching the news. No one's talking about the Hawks. Everyone's talking about the Bucks. Everyone's talking about the Nets. People are talking about the Heat, but no one's talking about the Hawks. He obviously looks a little bit or feels a little bit disrespected. So I have a little bit of interest in Trae Young. These guys, in my opinion, on a 3-game slate are going to be very low owned tonight because all the ownership is going to consolidate on like Giannis and maybe even Steph Curry. Obviously, those 2 guys as spend up options are going to absorb a ton of ownership. So I, of course, have some interest in Luka. We know Luka can match Giannis, his upside, especially in a matchup like this one. And then Trae Young, we know exactly what Trae Young can do. So in tournaments, I definitely have interest to this game. I want to be careful. There's definitely some plays I want to fade, but Trae Young, Luka, Porzingis, that's kind of where my interest would be.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Hawks and liking them a little bit in this game, and now they're feeling a little disrespected, right? And actually, our very own, BigT, JSU, they did a show yesterday, NFL show, Print Factory. JJ's not there because he's on his honeymoon, so congrats to him. But we also had no ODB because he's busy with the poker stuff. And Wilson, if you know him from Twitter, Wilson1, he gave out a winner, or let's hope it's a winner. I think it's going to be the Hawks, right? I expect it to be a winner. He gave that one out. Minus what is it, -2 or +2, whatever it is. He gave out the Hawks, right? I forget what the spread is on this game. Yeah, they're -2, so he gave that one out. And he also gave out some college football winners as well. So hey, be sure to check that show out. He gave one out for tonight. He gave out Tulane +14.5. So if you want to get the other 2, go watch the show, check it out. It's a free show over on our YouTube channel. Hoop, I'm going to go over to you. Luka, Trae, they're amazing options tonight. I think they're great in tournaments. AP even mentioned Porzingis, which I feel like you and I just are not Porzingis guys, and it's really hard for us to click that button. I feel like as like a cash guy, it has never worked out whenever we've done it. How are you handling those 3 studs at the top?
Yeah, so I think the studs in this game come in way lower owned than the rest of the studs. I think obviously Giannis is going to be the guy everyone goes to. And then after Giannis, I think it's going to be Steph Curry. I think those 2 get obviously Giannis is going to be the highest owned probably player on the slate because FanDuel or DraftKings refuses to price these guys properly. Just bad prices on guys like Giannis. Like these guys need to consistently be over 11K. Like to price them in the $10,000 range is absolutely egregious, and it just does nobody any good. Like Giannis at 10-3 tonight is just a dumb freaking price tag. And I hope as the season goes on, DraftKings brings these guys up to where they should be price wise. It's just bad pricing. It's bad for the product. Tons of overlap. FanDuel, a little bit better job on the pricing. All right, that's my little rant on that. But with those, Giannis and Curry being the 2 highest owned guys, I think we see, Luka and Trae Young come in with much lower ownership. Now, what I would honestly do if I'm going to play one, I'd probably play the other and just hope it turns into a back and forth with those two, and hope maybe the Heat blow out the Bucks or the Bucks blow out the Heat, and Giannis doesn't have the 60, 70 point fantasy game that he's capable of. Trae Young at 9-1, that's a fair price tag, easy to get him in. Luka is 10-6, a little more expensive. But to me, it's really tough to trust the secondary pieces in this game. Like the Mavericks, just looking at the roster, they got a lot of dudes. And I agree with AP with like the Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleba thing. Like, who the hell knows what big is going to get run for the Mavericks? Like, who knows? And even the ones that do get run aren't a lock to produce fantasy wise. So, Dorian Finney-Smith, you can add to that list. Like, what's the upside on him? Like 20 fantasy points? I don't know. Like, I'm mostly going to be off the secondary pieces in this game. Porzingis, I've read some stuff too that he's looked better this year. I guess you always hear that though in all these training camps and preseason. All this guy's got his legs back. He's looking quick. He's looking strong. The spot I would play Porzingis is on FanDuel where he's 7K. Power forward eligible. I'd consider him there. He does have the ability to rack up like a lot of blocks and stuff, and then those add up obviously a lot quicker on FanDuel. So I'd probably play him there on FanDuel. Don't think I really play him much on DK. The Hawks last year, I mean, all season long for us, and I think I run Pure Sports. We're kind of on it all season where we weren't really playing a lot of the Hawks guys. They have a lot of bodies, a lot of guys that can contribute. There's just not enough to go around, and it was the right move for most of the season. I mean, these guys did not have massive fantasy seasons. Trae Young, not a huge season because all these additions, Bogdanovich in there handling the ball a little bit. So really, I'll most likely be way lower on the Hawks, and then on the Mavericks side, hard for me to play, anyone outside of Luka or Porzingis on FanDuel. I think by far this game for fantasy purposes is the least appealing outside of those big names. However, if you're an ownership, if you're a game theory guy, this game will have the lowest ownership on the slate. So maybe you can make some moves.
I hope you actually got me a real realization here while you were talking about that. I don't have to play Porzingis as much this year because I have multi-position eligibility on FanDuel, right? Like, this is actually kind of nice. Am I not wrong?
Well, their multiple position eligibility is a freaking joke. Like, when everybody has multiple positions, like, it's pointless because then you just it turns into a situation where positions don't matter anymore, and that's what's going to happen on FanDuel. Positions don't matter. You just play your 8 or 9 favorite guys and move on. I like position eligibility when it makes sense, but not everybody needs to have multiple positions.
I agree with you, but I am excited. I don't have to be forced into Porzingis at power forward. So that is nice.
Yes.
That is definitely I'm looking for one of the bright spots in it, and that's what we got. AP, I'll go over to you, but I want to ask you this first. We got someone, he says in the chat, I had to rewind, fellas, so I'm not watching live. So he's pulling a man going here. He said, he thinks that Holden will be wearing the Santa costume that he was wearing Sunday morning. So do you think AP? Do you think you'll see Holden in the Santa costume?
I would put money. That has to be the favorite since that's the one costume we've seen Holden pull out.
Yep. I don't know why Holden.
I don't want to know what other costumes he has. I'm sure we would all be very surprised. So
you don't want to know.
Luke, you were on the show. He pulled that Santa costume out way too quick. Am I not wrong?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't go far and he wasn't gone for long, and that thing was on. So yeah, that's a little scary.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's a good call on what he could be wearing. AP, why don't you button this up for us? Any of the cheap guys? I mean, great points were mentioned by both of you guys in the Dallas situation. Also, Jason Kidd is there, right? Who knows what he's going to do? It's a new coach. This is not Carlisle. Any other guys you're looking at for cheap, like DeAndre Hunter? I guess he could make some sense for the salary he's at. Jalen Brunson getting talked up a little bit. We know he's kind of talented. I think Bogdanovich in the mid-tier could be an interesting play that you could go to. Who else are you looking at here for cheap?
I mean, it's more so like what I would do if you're playing tournaments tonight. Get into the optimizer, mess around with the projections. We know where the chalk's going to be. We know it's going to consolidate around the Bucks. Try reducing some of the projections on the Bucks players. Maybe increase slightly some of the key guys in this game. Luka, Porzingis, me, and maybe not for you guys. Trae Young, kind of those main guys. Value. I would rather miss like if the value plays on the Bucks side, if they're the ones that slightly miss and like compared to like a Giannis, I think it's less impactful. So what I would do is mess around with the optimizer, increase the projections in this game, and just see how your builds look. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't, but that's why you use an optimizer. So I do think I do have a slight lean on the over in this game. I didn't fire. We gave out 2 winners yesterday though, and both of those hit. So it was a nice 4-1 day overall. But I got a slight lean on the over here, and I got a slight lean on the Heat game under. And early on, we were talking in Discord this morning. Before the news even came out on the Bucks side, I like the Heat plus 2.5. Now I'm looking at the spread; it's trending. I mean, this line moved so significantly. You rarely see a move this big, in my opinion, on the side. I mean, the Heat are I think 3-point favorites now. So I mean, you're talking about almost a 6-point swing total on the side there. So there's definitely a path for failure, and I know we're about to get to the Bucks game here next.
All right, guys, please, we got 400 watching, 104 likes. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe on the video. Helps us out a ton. Hoop, we also have Holden in the chat. Before you talk about the Bucks, he says he's wearing a suit. So what do you think of the Halloween costume for Holden? And then break down this Bucks situation for us and how you're handling it.
A birthday suit? I mean, I can't imagine a button and tie. Oh, hang on. I got a kid in here. Hang on.
All right. Yeah. I mean, probably while the kid's in here, the birthday suit conversation, probably not the best. But what do you think, AP? The suit, right? He's going to wear a suit. Do you think he's going to have a wig on with it? What do you think, AP?
I think we're spending too much time talking about Holden's costume. I mean, he'll let us know what he's going to wear.
I mean, I just want to talk about that, like Philip over there.
Okay. I mean, if you're that excited about a man going, you should go then. You should go so that you can report back. Who knows? Maybe you'll get lucky. Who knows?
Who knows what'll happen? Hoop. Break down the Bucks, and unless you're still busy, but
no. The kids, their friends came to the door, and the wife's not home, and they want to go play. So I had to give the approval. All right. The Bucks. We kind of talked about it in the opening. The Bucks are going to be a very popular team fantasy wise. They already got Portis out. They already have DiVincenzo out, and now today Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez out. So a team that's already thin, going to be tight rotations tonight in a competitive game, which is what we kind of yearn for in DFS. Giannis becomes probably a lock button play on both sides. Nwora is going to be very popular as well. Looked really, really good game one, and now he's going to be in a much bigger role tonight. Chris Middleton, I like a ton, and just looking at some projections and stuff, he's not popping as much as I thought he would. Maybe that kind of tempers his ownership a little bit, but I think he's a very, very strong play. I expect them to kind of stagger Middleton and Giannis tonight, which would be a big benefit to him. Grayson Allen should be in line for a ton of minutes, probably 30. George Hill, Giannis, Connington, all strong plays. The Big T's boy, the Sandro guy. All these guys are going to play, and they're not going to play Giannis 40 minutes. They're not going to play Middleton 40 minutes. So these other guys are going to get a good chunk of run. So it's a very good spot for fantasy wise. Now, with the spot being so good, we know the ownership is going to kind of follow. On the Heat side, new look from the Heat here with Lowry at point guard. Slight downgrade, I think, to a guy like Jimmy Butler. But Butler has a really good price. I mean, he's only 8.3 on DK. That's too cheap. 9.1 on FanDuel. That's a fair price tag as well. The guy I think that actually gets a pretty big downgrade here is Bam, depending on how they match up. If Bam is now forced to guard Giannis, that's not good for him. They do have PJ Tucker. So if maybe it's PJ Tucker, you guys might have a strong opinion on who ends up guarding Giannis, but if Bam has to match up with him and then Giannis is going to match up with Bam, don't really like that matchup for Bam all that much. Coming off the bench, Tyler Hero, I think, could go maybe a little overlooked today. He's capable of getting super hot and scoring a bunch of fantasy points. So a lot of different ways to go in this game. I will say, though, if you're loading up on the Bucks, you're definitely going to want some Heat exposure too, because you're going to want this game to kind of remain close.
Yeah, you mentioned a guy that gets hot, Hero, Duncan Robinson easily get hot too. In the Bucks, they definitely like to leave guys open for three. It's kind of how they play their defense. But you are going to want some Bucks, right? Jordan Nwora, one of the better values on the entire slate. Giannis, one of the better spend ups at 10.3K. AP, I'll go over to you. How many Bucks are too many Bucks? I think let's start there and then break this game down for me.
That's the question I was just laughing at. That's our favorite question, right? We get it every. Usually, it's on the up to lock slate. I mean, how many players are too much? I mean, it really depends. What kind of contest are you in? The more Bucks I think you have, the more likely it is that your build is going to be similar to other people. So here's what I'm doing, and this might be a really bad take, but I think the Heat are set up to have the best defense in the league. When you look at all the pieces here, they do. They're going to be an absolute beast on the defensive end of the court. You got a Bucks team coming in down multiple key pieces here. They looked fantastic, a few days ago against a smaller Nets team, a Nets team that has very little rim protection, that is not good defensively at all. Do we really just think the Bucks are going to come in and just wipe this team that's healthy, like off the court? I could see the Heat blowing them out, and I could see this being a really ugly game. It's a 3-game slate. It's a long season. I could be wrong for sure, but I know I'm going to be really different than everyone else tonight. I'm going to underproject a lot of the players on the Bucks side, mainly, and I'm talking tournaments only, mainly like Giannis and Middleton. I think Bam is one player in this league that is able to match up somewhat decently with Giannis. Now you got PJ Tucker, you got Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, a very good defender. The only leaky spot there is Duncan Robinson, which who cares? They throw him on George Hill. We're not worried about George Hill at all tonight. So I personally think that this is a really tough spot for the Bucks. I'm hoping that we see this Heat defense come to play, and that alone, by under projecting some of these guys, some of them are going to be very difficult fades. Jordan Nwora, this kid looks super good. And honestly, like I'm probably going to increase like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Giannis's brother, because I think those guys could have a much larger role in this game. And so in tournaments, I'm going to be a lot different than other people on the slate, and I'm definitely fine with that. I just hope this Heat defense shows up and is as good as I think it's going to be.
All right, Hoop, I'm gonna go back to you. Give me rank your top 3 Bucks, and then we got someone in the chat saying Nwara's gonna flop tonight. Would he flop for somebody like Sandro, Big T's guy from the other day? What would you do with someone like him? Is it a good chance to take a shot on him with Brook Lopez being
out? With Nwora, I mean, he's not just like one of these exercise guys that's out there just like standing around and going back and forth up and down the court. He's very active. He can shoot. I was very impressed with him. So I think his bust probability is pretty low. My favorite's Giannis, obviously, then probably Nwora, and then I like Middleton a ton. And like I said, Middleton's a guy that might be going a little overlooked. I mean, could be wrong, but the projections aren't as high as I think they should be. So I'll be higher on Middleton than the field.
Yeah, I think all those guys are really good plays. AP, so I think in cash games, like you're going to see people have like 4 or 5 of them. You could see 5 at some point. 4 is probably 3 to 4 is like maybe a better number. What's like the minimum you do Bucks, right? Is there a min number you would set on your tournament teams here, AP?
I don't have that answer yet, because I'm gonna. Here's what I kind of see happening is some of these value pieces will fall into my builds, but like a Jordan Nwora, like I agree with Hoop. I think even in a blowout script, they're going to give this kid run. I mean, I'm not really a Pat Con guy. He looked fine last game, and this Sandro guy, like I don't even know, like in a blowout script, if these guys would do enough, because I feel like we have, Valka Zubac. He's way underpriced. I mean, the dude's cheap. There's other pieces on the slate that are just as cheap. So I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to underproject the Bucks in my tournament teams. It definitely could kill me tonight, but I know I'm going to be different. I know it's a long season, and I'm banking on this Heat defense being really good.
All right, Hoop, let me go back to you. Tell the people a little bit again. What's the code? It's like RPS NBA 15, and what's it get you? And I mean, it's the perfect time to sign up. Tell the people everything that they need to know right now about Run Pure Sports and why they should come and sign up.
Yeah, so I mean, RPS NBA 15 gets you 15% off your payment at Run Pure Sports month after month after month. As long as you don't cancel your subscription, as long as you stay on board, you'll continue to get that 15% off every single month. And like we always say, it includes every single sport that we offer. And basically, we're covering every sport that DraftKings has contests for. Right now is the best time to get in. NBA, NFL, all the showdowns that go along with it, and MLB playoffs. NASCAR, MMA, soccer, every sport, one price. Best time to join the movement over here at Run Pure Sports.
Yep, and also hit that like, hit that subscribe on the video. It helps us out a ton. I also want to talk about some of the other pieces of content that we have and some of the new ones that we have, AP. We got the core plays, we got the playbook, we got the cash chart, the projections, the matchups, all the injury news, the Discord chat, but we got the heat map, right? So tell the people a little bit about your new piece of content that you have. You did it a little bit last year too. It was in the Discord chat, and I've seen a lot of people love it. So I want you to kind of tell the people what you've been doing for them.
Yeah, I'm kind of a visual guy. I like to see the slate and where all the plays are in kind of like one format, just so I can kind of look and see. And then, a lot of it kind of K Fallick, our guy, I know he's in chat earlier too. He kind of got me on the concept because, on the core plays, they kept saying, hey, fade everyone, fade all the 7 p.m. guys. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I do that, I can't. We need a piece to be able to see everything else to help people get a better idea of what the context of the slate looks like. So it'll change. Every day is going to be different, but we're going to have it up every single slate. The core play that's highlighted in the bright green highlight isn't a reflection of what my actual core play is. Make sure you go and check the core play sheet. It's the best play on the slate, or what the projected best play is. And then a lot of it is ownership is factored in too. So you'll see on there, all the Bucks guys are in green colors. We got the blue colors, Luka, Porzingis, Paul George, etc. Those are going to try to highlight kind of what our elite plays are. And then it's broken down by starting with the 7 p.m. games all the way to the 10 Eastern games. So nice, fun piece of context to help simplify the slate.
Yeah, then you got the underweight plays, right?
And real quick, you guys, is George Hill going to be 50% owned?
I don't think it'll be that high.
Okay. That's just. What's his ceiling? If he gets 33 minutes, his ceiling's what, 27?
Well, and plus, if he starts, that's the word. I'd prefer if he actually came off the bench. Like if he starts, I think he's in a pretty bad spot. Starting with Giannis and Middleton. I don't think he'll be that highly owned. Maybe. What do you think, Mango?
I'm trying to think. If you think of like the highest, you think of some of the highest owned guys on the slate, right? They are in the forward spot, right? You got Nwora, you got Giannis, you got Middleton. So that naturally could force you to have to save salary in spots. And then you might be saving more spots in the guard. So if you spend up at guard, like if you spend for 2 guards, if you play Luka and you play Trey, that is going to make you pretty unique from the beginning. So I'm not thinking 50% on George Hill is the right number, but I do think he's going to be a chalkier play on the slate. I don't think he's going to come in at like 10% by any means. I'm sure the optimizers will push him in there a little bit, because I think you are going to be forced to, one, take a value play at the forward spot. You're going to take Giannis at the top 2 and forward. And it just starts to make sense that you might want to save some salary at the guard position. I don't know. AP, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You're always good at kind of breaking it down position by position, and that does dictate a lot of ownership. Like when you go into the optimizers and you play around with projections, sometimes you'll see, you're like, why is this guy, I'll under project a guy, and I'm like, why the hell is he continuing to hit these builds? I'm like, I don't want him in there. It's because all the other pieces in your lineup are kind of dictating what's happening, and that's the piece that's just getting in there. So I could definitely see that happening with George Hill. I'm not going to be playing him though tonight. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's fine, but I think there's better options that you can go to. Let's go over to the next game. Let's talk the Clippers and the Warriors. And AP, let me go to you about the Clippers and Warriors. And break it down for me. Here's a guard we can spend on. His name's Steph Curry. We know how great he is. Jordan Poole has been seeing some really nice usage. Decent price tag to it, 5.5K. On the opposite side of the Clippers, you got Paul George, who's at the small forward spot, who, listen, I think Giannis for sure is no doubt better than Paul George, but that's going to make Paul George get a little bit lower owned. So break it down for me. We got some decent stars at the top. How are you choosing them?
Yeah, I mean, Curry was phenomenal last game. If you go and look at the rotation, I hope Kerr had a strategy that was just to run the Lakers off the court, because Curry played 36 minutes. I think Damian Lee played 30. Everyone else played 25 or under, including Jordan Poole, and he had a fantastic game, and he was on fire there in the third quarter. He did not finish that game, though, down the stretch, which was surprising to see. But if you thinking back to watching that game, they were sprinting down the court, back and forth. And I just think, I mean, the Lakers got gassed. You could see it late in the fourth quarter there. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against the Clippers. They're, a smaller team. I think they'll be able to run with them if that's what they want to do. We also saw last season the Clippers run at the slowest pace out of every team. And so that's a slight hit, but the Warriors are definitely wanting to run with pace. So I give a slight bump to the Clippers side of this game. We saw Paul George absolutely dominate without Kawhi Leonard on there. His usage and fantasy point per minute numbers were all really elite. So yeah, he's a guy I'm definitely looking at. Zubac, he's 5K. He's even cheaper, I think, on FanDuel. Just an absolute smash play. Like they have, I mean, if you, man, like preseason, they weren't playing Hartenstein very much at all. Like I briefly looked at the numbers, but it didn't look like they were giving that guy much run at all. It seems like when Zubac's out, they're probably just going to go small, and they could definitely do that against the Warriors. So for me, kind of to wrap this up, Paul George, Zubac, definitely interested in those guys. Curry, definitely interested in him. I'm a little bit worried about these other pieces. Like we're paying, like I really like Jordan Poole. He looked fantastic last game, but 25 minutes, 5.5K. I wish I knew we were getting, 30 minutes plus from him. So maybe you guys can talk me into him, but I definitely like Curry here. I definitely like Paul George.
Well, one thing to say with Jordan Poole that I thought was really interesting when kind of looking at that game, because I like Damian Lee the other day. He did fine. He got like 18 fantasy points for 3.7. You take that on a 2-gamer. But I looked at Jordan Poole, and he got the 30 fantasy points at 5.5K. And he only played 25 minutes, but he shot 18 shots. And listen, 25 minutes is low. Like he could easily play 30. He could easily play 32 tonight, and I would not be shocked. So I do think Jordan Poole is a really strong play to keep attacking. You mentioned Zubac, which I think people will be on. And one of my favorite plays today in tournaments, and it's a little off the board, it's Marcus Morris. And if they go a little bit smaller, we know who Marcus Morris is, a guy that's not afraid to chuck the ball. And those are the guys I like. I like guys that are not scared to shoot. We talked about Nuwara earlier. He's not just going to sit in the corner. He will jack up shots. So is Jordan Poole. So is Morris. And I think Morris is a really good pivot off of Zubac if that game goes to more of the small ball lineups. Hoop, I'll go over to you. How are you handling this Warriors and Clippers game in cash games and in tournaments?
Yeah, a lot more interest in the Clippers side than the Warriors side. I mean, we have this uncertainty with the minutes around Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green. I mean, they were on some sort of unspecified minutes restriction last game. I imagine that's still in place this game. Looney only played 16, 17 minutes. He got that first rotation. That was basically it. Wasn't thrilled with the minutes for Poole. Some concern there, but man, he's good, and they're going to need him. So, I mean, the two guys that I do like here, Curry and Poole for sure. Those will be the two most popular on the Warriors side. Definitely like those two. Bielitsa will probably get some ownership after a strong showing. And that he actually fits really well with this team. I think that's a really, really underrated pickup for them. Bielitsa, just a perfect fit for what they're trying to do. I like Otto Porter in a bounce back spot. I don't know why they didn't use him more. I didn't see the whole second half of that game. Not sure why he wasn't used more, but seems like a guy that they should kind of need. And I don't mind him in tournaments. I mean, he busted a lot of people that opening game. So maybe the ownership will come down, but I don't mind going back to him. But the Clippers side is extremely interesting. The addition of Eric Bledsoe, Reggie Jackson. I like the Marcus Morris call. He's kind of going a little bit overlooked. I think he could have a very solid show. And like you said, man, going like he likes to chuck the ball. Like if he's out there, he's getting some shots up. Paul George is going to be very low owned, I think. I mean, a lot of people going elsewhere in terms of the spend ups. Zubac's a really strong play. Terrence Mann, I like. Terrence Mann's a guy they're going to need. And then also Luke Kennard, I don't hate. Very, very cheap. A guy that's capable of getting hot behind the arc. So definitely prefer the Clippers side of this game. A lot more options. I'd be playing most of these Clippers, to be honest with you, because I could see a good chunk of they're priced much better on FanDuel opposed to DraftKings. These DraftKings prices are up there a little bit, but on FanDuel, they're all really, really cheap. Like Reggie Jackson's 5K, Bledsoe's 4.5K. I believe Morris is right around 5K. So better plays on FanDuel than on DraftKings, but I really do like the spot here for the Clippers. And then, like I said, on the Warriors side, Steph, you got to love. And Poole, I think, is still a very strong option. He looked very solid in limited time. How many minutes did he end up playing? I know it wasn't anything crazy. Do you know off the top of your head? Yeah, Poole. Yeah,
I said it before. It was 25 minutes, so he came
a
little bit. And Damian Lee got some of the close I saw. I wasn't able to watch the whole game, but he got 29 minutes there. AP, did you see anything based on the minutes? I know Hoop was talking about Otto Porter before, and I think Bielitsa ended up sliding in. We got the chart, man. I'm sure they can help you with that in Discord.
I think they just needed more size too against the Lakers, so it makes sense. But I mean, Kerr's a guy that is always okay with messing with the rotation and building it around different matchups. And so if they don't need as much size tonight, against the Clippers, we could see more Otto Porter. I was surprised we didn't see a lot of him last game. I'm going to be off of him. Bielitsa looked really good. There's no reason why, in my opinion, they wouldn't, run him out there for a similar run that he got last game. But someone in chat said Poole might have tweaked his ankle. And, considering they were sprinted up and down the court, that would make sense. And Damian Lee was playing good.
Yeah, Damian Lee wasn't bad too. I mean, he's obviously similar to Poole, but Poole's the better player. But man, that Warriors team, definitely excited to watch them, especially once they get Klay Thompson back. Should be pretty good. Hoop, any final thoughts here on this game? We talked about most of it. I don't know if you want to move on to the plays of the day. I don't know if we can even give out the plays of the day because our likes, we're at 144 with 438 watching. I know you've been over there disciplining the kids, so I think it's time to discipline the chat a little bit there, Hoop.
Yeah, the wife leaves, and the kids want to just take off through the neighborhood on their own. Like it's a disaster over here, but we made it through. We got to get up to 200 likes. I mean, that's as our boy JT Hayes says, that's a hurtful number. I mean, it's a free show. We'll be here every Monday through Friday throughout the NBA season, same time for free, unless these hurtful number of likes don't come up, and then we'll just shift this over and do another premium show. So the best way to keep us here is hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Both of those simultaneously helps us being here, like I said, Monday through Friday for free. I mean, our members want us to move this premium, but we like our YouTube community too. So please hit the like and subscribe. In terms of this game, I mean, yeah, it should be a good game. I think it's going to be a competitive back and forth type game. Big time potential here in terms of fantasy scoring, a lot of good price tags that we can take advantage of. I mean, I guess overall, the slate's very solid. I mean, we have, in terms of the spread in total, we have three very, very similar games. Hopefully we get three competitive games and, get things started here in the right direction.
Yep, for sure. Got to get things moving here. And we want to get the likes up. And we're already at 178. We need 22 more. And this is what I got to do. And Make It Happen says, you got to refresh me and go, no, that's not true. It's moving on my screen. You guys are just not doing your job. I'm sorry, Make It Happen. It's just the truth. But at 177 or 178, you need 22 more. And I can stall a little bit to make that happen. I think I'll do my best for you guys, but you got to do your best on the opposite end. I do want to talk about the playbook, the core plays, all the stuff we got. We got AP on the playbook some days. We got Gary, we got Glock. We got the core plays from all of the guys, right? We got Big T, we got JSU. And let me tell you, JSU coming in hot to start out the year on the premium show that you have to check out every single day. Yesterday, he said, Ja Moran. You could have had De'Aaron Fox. You could have had Ball. There's so many guys you could have had, and you could have played them all. But JSU said, Ja Morant, 35 real-life points. And what does he do? He puts up 37. So that's what JSU brings on that premium show. You got to check that out. You got to subscribe. RPS NBA 15 gets you 15% off for life. So get in there on that. And again, we're at 196, so you guys will get there. And I'll say one more thing because the producer will love this, but hit that subscribe right there. It's red. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out all of our content. We have so much NFL content that you can check out every single day. It's just so much stuff going on over here at Run Pure Sports. So check all of that out. Hoop, I'm going to go over to you. We're at 197. I have faith we're going to get there for a couple more. Let's go on to the plays of the day. And are you ready for your rich parents play of the day?
Yes, I am ready for the rich parents play of the day. And, it's a 3-game slate. It's hard to find something super off the wall. I'm going to go with a guy that I think comes in not low owned, but I'm going to say lower owned than he should be. And it's on the Bucks, and it's going to be Chris Middleton. Not going to be like a 5% play. Obviously, he's going to be owned, but I think he should have much more ownership than he's going to have. The projections didn't bump him a ton with those guys out. I think they get a lot of staggered time between him and Giannis. So give me Chris Middleton as the official rich parents play of the day.
All right, I'm going to give more of an off-the-board play. I'm going to go to Mr. Marcus Morris. I'm going to give him as my guy. A little bit of a pivot off of Zubac. He's definitely like a cash game hero for me, you and me, Hoop, right? It always feels like whenever you play him, it just always works out, right? There's a couple of those guys all the time. And I just think the small ball lineups make so much sense against the Warriors. I think Marcus Morris can have a really, really big day. And they're not afraid to put him up there, even if they're going a little bigger. I mean, they'll definitely do it, and they'll just kind of spread you out and try to get back in the game because the Clippers, they like to shoot 3-pointers, and they're down to spread it out as well. AP, I'm going to go over to you. I want to get your play of the day. I wonder if he's on the heat map. I'm excited to check this one out. So who do you got here in tournaments?
Yeah, he is on the heat map. There's a lot of plays on the heat map. It's not designed. That's like not everyone I'm playing. But I do list my fades in there. So I think Middleton's going to be chalk. I do think he could be right though, Hoop. Maybe not as high as he should be on a slate like this, but I do think he's going to get steamed up. I got a play that's going to be way, way lower owned. When you consider some of the guys at his position in his range, Jordan Poole, guys like him are going to take ownership away from him. Playing off the script that I was talking about earlier with the Bucks and Heat, I think what's going to happen. The Heat are going to shut this team, shut them down or make them struggle offensively. Tyler Hero is going to come in and do what he's been doing all preseason, and he's going to absolutely light it up. He's going to be playing against a bunch of dudes in the second unit for the Bucks that are not good players at all. I think he's going to have free looks at the rim, and he's going to put up a big number for us. So Tyler Hero at like 5% ownership is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I didn't follow a ton of the preseason. So what's the sort of role are we projecting for him? Like off the bench, like kind of running the second unit type thing?
Yeah, this dude he came out and said, I kind of laughed at it at the time, but he said he thinks he should be in the same category as Trae Young, Luka Doncic, this young elite group coming up. I laughed at the time. I'm like, okay, dude, whatever. But you gotta respect a kid that's that confident. And he showed it during preseason. The dude was on fire. His shot looks good. It looks like he's been putting in the work, and I think he's gonna be very low tonight.
Well, if you need a hero, Tyler is the guy that'll save you in your lineup. So get him in there.
Look at that! That is like what an ending. That little
great
gem
little
right
pun
there,
man.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm on a show with two dads. I thought it was the perfect way to do it. So that's gonna wrap this show.
Hey, after this weekend with the Holden or next weekend, you might join the dad category.
Let's not get too far carried away there, Hoop. But that is gonna wrap it up for us, guys. One last thing: the premium show coming up next. Coming up at 6:45 Eastern. That is Bobby Gomes. That's Draft Cheat. That is Holden. They will be breaking it all down for you leading up to lock, and you'll have all the core plays from all of our guys, BigT, JSU. We got MLB Showdown. We got college football tonight. It's a 4-game slate there. It's a 4-game slate on Friday. We have every single piece of content that you need over here at Run Pure Sports. If you're a sports guy, Sign up now, RPS NBA 15, 15% off for life. For me, Mangone, Hoop, and AP, we will see you guys later.